Yeah, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of From My Experience podcast. I am your host, Rob. What is going on with y'all? Y'all doing all right? Y'all good? Y'all good out there? See, I know y'all probably hyped for this episode because as I'm recording, I'm thinking of what I'm going to put as the title. And I'm assuming a lot of the ladies are going to tune into this one. Fellas, you should probably be tuning in as well because we're going to get some great knowledge from this episode. I can tell just by our special guest. But first, before we get into that, I wanted to thank all of you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the reviews. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for shopping with our affiliates. And speaking of our affiliates, we have Acre Gold. We have Jot Forms, and we have Garner's Garden. The Linktree link is in the description. Shopping with our affiliates helps us out. So please do that. And don't forget that you can email us. If you have topics, more intimate questions, or something you want to bring to the show, you can email us at rob@fmepodcast.com or admin@fmepodcast.com. Why? Because we have an intern. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest in the building. Now, this guest I met on Clubhouse. We were in a room. I believe the room was Ask a Married/Single Man Anything, and the women could come in and ask us any questions. And this guy came in, and I saw the avatar, and I saw his name, and honestly, I said, what the fuck? Because I did not know what to expect. So his name was the Toy Guy. So I'm like, all right. So I went to his Instagram, I'm not going to give it away because I'm going to let him talk about it. But I looked at his Instagram, and I was like, need to have him on the podcast. And also, the brother was very, very, very insightful when we were having conversations in the room, like really dropping some gems. I actually dropped a couple things that helped me with some situations I'm about to get myself into because, you know, hot boy summer. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have the owner of Platinum Treasures, Adult Novelties, and Lingerie, Carl, the Toy Guy.
What's going on, y'all? How you doing today?
How are you? How are you, man?
I can't complain, man. Busy in the toy trap. You know how I go.
Yo, so
And before you start, I heard you say a year.
That's the Philly side of me, man. That's the Philly. You know what I'm saying? That's the Philly side.
That's a Baltimore thing, too.
I've never even been to Baltimore.
No, you got to come hang out, man. It's a good look.
Oh, definitely. I need to hang out with you, bro.
Whenever you ready.
I ain't ready. So, tell everyone about Platinum Treasures, Adult Novelties, and Lingerie.
Cool. It's exactly what you think it is. It's an adult novelties business that's owned 100% by me, which is a black man. It's an e-commerce business as well as an in-home party plan business. So what I mean by that is it's like your typical toy parties that you would go to with bedroom candies and or pure romance. Platinum Treasures, you know, basically do the same exact thing. So parties for bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, ladies night out, divorce parties, stripper parties, just because you name it. Like, yeah, you know, we have those type of parties. And we carry a wide variety of products. Over 600,000 products, is constantly growing. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad to be in the business.
Wait, how many products?
Over 600,000 in count.
All uniquely different products?
Absolutely.
What?
Unique, and then also similar products just by different brands and different price points.
I didn't realize that there were that many. I've been in a couple of adult stores, and well, I can actually believe it now because you have so many things from just lingerie to oils and creams and Mm.
You naming all the light stuff, man. You got BDSM, you got anal toys, glass toys, you got clitoral vibrators, suction vibrators, dual stem, double dongs, single dongs, strap-ons. You got like enhancement pills. You got cock rings, vibrating cock
Wait, I'm gonna
rings.
stop you right there.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I'm starting this interview backwards as hell, but it doesn't matter. I'm a
Cool.
little lit. Yo, because you mentioned these pills, man, and I know that they sell a variety of pills. Like gas stations have pills. There's these. I've never needed them, and I'm actually afraid to take them because I'm like I don't know any reputable brands. And my ex actually bought some pills for herself one time. I don't.
So
I should have known it was trouble then, but she took them and they worked for her for sure. So how do you feel about that? And what is like? What's some advice you would give someone that they were interested in shopping for something like that? Obviously, they didn't need to shop with you, but go ahead.
right. Well, first things first. Let's just not call them pills because it sounds like we selling drugs, right?
I'm sorry.
So enhancement products, right?
Okay.
Or sexual wellness products, but let's just say enhancement products. Now, it just depends on what the person is looking for. Like if it's a woman and she comes to me and she's looking for something where she can increase arousalness, like intense orgasms, things of that nature, then yes, we definitely carry all natural products. One is called Juicy AF. The AF stand for as fuck, and then we also got something that's called Minx, which is pretty much the same thing. I've had a lot of women that's purchased these products, and I've gotten a lot of great reviews that they come back and some of them cop a whole box. And if you're a guy,
How
and then
many
if
is in the
you're a
box?
guy,
Hold up. How many is in the box?
24 in a box.
What was her name? Never mind. Go ahead.
Nah, man, we always fully discreet over here. I'll never give names, boss. Never.
Excellent. Excellent.
And then also, like, if you're a guy and you're looking for something where you want to, stay harder, longer, you might be trying to, in my best New York voice, you might be trying to hide me something. You know what I mean? Like, we got something for you too. We got something called steel erection, and then another one is called hard AF. And you guessed it, the AF stands for as fuck, hard as fuck.
How?
Again, all natural.
All natural. Wow.
Yeah. Take one pill, drink some water. I think it's like 8 to 12 ounces of water. Take it for like an hour to 2 hours before, your sexual encounter, and basically, you're ready to,
Yo.
it'll last 72 hours. Now you won't be full on hard for 72 hours, but it'll be in your system. So whenever she's ready to go, or he, or whatever your sexual preference is, you be ready to go.
Wow. So question for you. Your beginnings. What how did you end up getting into the industry? I know you put some of this stuff on your questionnaire, but talk to the people about, your experience with starting out in the industry.
It's funny. It all started back in college. So I'm my parents' first child, right? So they sent me to college, and like my father, I never forget. After they unloaded my car, my father gave me $20. It was like, yo, this should last you for the whole semester.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Wait,
It's bugging.
$20 for the whole semester? This ain't 1940.
So gave me $20 and told me it should last the whole semester. Took my car keys away from me. Told me I needed to make the honor roll. Thought he was bugging, but anyway, I ended up making the honor roll, and or dean's list, whatever you call it. So I got my car, and then I ended up having like an on-campus job. Then I had an Asian guy I was working with. Some odd reason, I don't know if he didn't like me or what, but he dry snitched on me, and I ended up getting fired. I had a homegirl at the time named Baby Girl. I hit her up, and I was just like, yo, I'm considering being a stripper. She was like, yo, you should do it, but I didn't know where to start. So she gave me the game, told me everything I needed to do. I started dancing.
Wait. So you ain't think about going to Walmart, Target, none. It was like, how you go from on campus, like, yo, I want to strip. Like,
well, actually, let me back up, right? So I got fired from the job. I ended up working at UPS. I was an unloader at UPS. I ended up getting something in my eye. I called home to, home to get like my, medical cards and all that stuff. My mother was in the uproar. So she dry snitched, and she said something to my pops, who in turns was like, yo, you don't need to work. I told you focus on the books and yada yada yada. So I had to secretly try to make money without alerting them and letting them know. You follow what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Because he gave you that
so
20, so
so
you
then
should have been good, right?
right. So then I became a stripper. I never danced in clubs or anything like that because I didn't want family and friends to find out about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I only did private parties. When I did private parties, I think my first party, I used to book a lot of parties off of Craigslist. This is when Craigslist was popping,
I
right?
remember.
You could literally make a lot of money on Craigslist. I ended up bumping into this woman named Audra, who was like the owner of a place called Desire Lingerie. I thought going there, to buy the outfits that strippers, male strippers wore. But little I found out later that male strippers actually got their outfits custom made.
Hmm.
But while I'm talking to her, I told her what I was doing and I was in college and I was wrapping up my college career. She was like, yo, you should think about selling sex toys or adult novelties. And I was just like, yo, you bugging. She was like, you already getting naked and dancing and those women are hard up. You might as well just sell them a few dildos and vibrators and make even more money.
That
So
makes
from there,
sense.
right. So from yeah, it made sense, but I still thought she was bugging, right? So
Yeah.
from there, I ended up I took her up on it, but I had somebody working for me. That particular rep that I had working for me decided one night that she wanted to go get some dick, right? So I was forced to do a party.
Mm-hmm.
So I go do the party. Mind you, I've been studying the product and stuff like that because I never wanted to get caught off guard.
Right.
So I go into a party in like Northeast Baltimore, and it's like 40 women in the joint downstairs in the basement.
You ain't even
They
called me,
30,
but go ahead.
nah, literally. Like yo, it was like 40 women like in their 30s, like late 20s, early 30s, and it was lit. When I tell you it was lit, it was having fun. And I basically just had one drink with them and I just turned up and I was just talking about the products and stuff, and they were just intrigued that a guy was just extremely as knowledgeable about the product as like women were.
Mm-hmm.
So from there they dubbed me Toy Boy, but then it was just like, yo, nah, he's a man. So Toy Man. Then one woman was like Toy Guy, and the name just stuck, and it's the rest is history. So that's how I started.
So at these, well, I have like a half question, but I don't want you to
Shoot.
answer it yet. I need to get some clarity. When you ended up managing 20 people, was that during that college time or is this after?
During college time, going into like my professional career, and in between that time, that's when I was managing 20, like a little over 20 male and female strippers.
All right, I'm gonna get to that in a second. Here's a question I want to ask. So when you do a party with these toys, like they are they allowed to sample them? Is there some sanitation, or is it like, yo, you just describe it and like they gotta buy it? I assume they have to buy it. I know it sounds like a dumb question, but I don't know how these things work.
I got you. So it's not, they don't have to buy anything, right? So the way how a toy party work is that you come to a party, you set up your table, and you set up products, for them to browse and potentially purchase, right? I also come with a demo kit. I don't allow them to use the product like, hey, go to the bathroom and go vibe out.
I was. He said, "Go to the back." Go ahead, yo.
Like none of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have like the vibrators or whatever I'm showing, and I'll talk about it, then I'll turn it on, then I might pass it around the room so that they can feel it, touch it, see the vibration. Some folks like to take pictures with them, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the party, they all approach the table one at a time. Or I always like to ask one at a time, but they tend to bum rush the table.
Of course.
And everybody got their credit cards and cash, and they want to buy what they want to buy and then go home. So there are things that they do test out, but it might be like arousal oil or something like that, right? But something like that, it's not like, hey, give you this bottle, go put it on your clit. It might be put 2 drops on like a popsicle stick or something like that, or like a Q-tip that they get to keep. You know what I'm saying? And then they put it on, and then they come back out and tell everybody at the party what they feeling, right?
Wow.
So yeah, it gets a little crazy.
It sounds like you hiring. We'll talk about that off air. Now tell us how you ended up managing 20. First of all, managing one person is a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
you ended up so you're transitioning, like you're finishing up school, you're selling products, and you're managing 20 people. How'd you end up at that point?
Well, what ended up happening was, it's like at the time when I graduated, I went and moved back in with my parents, right? But they was living in Northeast Baltimore. One of the guys who I grew up with, he ended up becoming a dancer too, and he was dancing at a club in downtown Baltimore called Club Choices. I think it was on a Thursday night or Friday night, I can't remember. So I was just like, yo, let me manage you. He ain't know no better. He was just like, sure. I was just like, yo, let me focus on the business. I'm pretty smart, and I can handle business, and you just focus on the dancing. He like, all right, cool. And slowly but surely, what ended up happening is each dancer, as I'm like booking their parties and stuff like that, they in turn started introducing me to other dancers,
Mm-hmm.
male and female. Like, hey, yo, this is my man, such and such. He booked my parties, XYZ. He's a good look. Go from there. And then they'll be like, ooh, let me, can you do my parties? And yeah, and that's how it took off.
So what is that process like managing? What are some of like the ups, downs? What are some things like if someone's looking to get into that?
Okay, well, the upside is like, yo, you can make some pretty good money. So if like right now, this is bachelor and bachelorette season, right?
Yeah.
So if I was still managing dances, my phone would be blowing up while I'm talking to you guys right now, like literally. Everybody looking for entertainers. So it's literally just easy money. But sometimes it can be a headache because people will reach out to you and be like, oh, I want to book this day, or can you negotiate the price because I'm getting four entertainers? Like, nah, the price is the price, right?
The
You know
price
what
is
I'm
the
saying? So,
price.
just the ups and downs of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know what I'm saying? But the best thing about it is that, yo, you get paid well, you get to go to parties, you know what I'm saying? You get to see how people react to entertainers, and then you just get to watch people get naked, right? You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like, you basically at a strip club for free, and you don't have to pay. And
Oh,
sometimes, at these parties, they got food, they got drinks if you want to.
yeah.
Most of the time, I never indulge in the food. I might have a drink or two, and most of the time, I'm just in the background chilling, right? And then that's it. Now the downfall is that you may get with the wrong entertainers, and they're
Mm.
not ones that are business minded. So they're showing up the parties late, they're showing up the parties high, or they don't show up to a party at all. So so now you gotta try to find somebody to backfill the position, like all that type stuff. Go from there. Then you might have some entertainers that might be homophobic. So especially like male entertainers, they don't want to dance for men,
Yeah.
but my female entertainers, they dance for any and everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to tell my males, like, yo, why you hating? You're not like the guys or whomever you dancing for is trying to touch you or nothing. They just want to see entertainment. But you can completely get paid way more dancing for guys than you could with women. So, you just have to try to break down those dynamics and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But, it was fun while it lasted, but after a while it became a headache, and I started making so much more money. Like on my full-time job, it just wasn't worth it anymore.
So speaking of your full time job, so how did you balance, where you are now, or how do you balance where you are now with your novelties and lingerie and your professional career? Well, you have two professional careers.
Right.
So how do you
Right.
balance
Well,
all that?
yeah. Well, basically, well, three professional careers if you want to add in being a father, right? So I'm a father to a
Absolutely.
1 year old girl. But what I do is I just segment like my day. So I might wake up early in the morning, work out, yoga, meditate, read the Bible, whatever the case may be. Go to work, and then once I get off, I play with my daughter for a little bit, grab her from daycare, make sure she's cool, and then later on in the evening, I focus on like my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe before I go to sleep, like let's say 10, 11 o'clock, I might be reading a book, I might be reading some articles, reading up on new product, stuff like that. And then, we just go from there. And it's just, or just repeat the cycle. But most of the time when people sleep, I'm still up working. So it's hard work, but, at the end of the day, it pays off.
I could definitely tell that that is definitely hard work. And speaking of your line of work, and one of my past guests actually brought this up, so I want to bring this up to you.
Sure.
How do you resist temptation in your line of work? I mean, back when you were single, obviously, and like with the people you're managing, obviously, you're dancing for people. They're seeing you naked. They're obviously more than likely into you, trying to touch you, grab you, maybe sliding you a number. So, what are, I guess, personally for you, how did you resist that temptation, and what is some advice you have for people who are in that industry to like, yo, hey, keep it business?
Yo, simply put, if you want the money to flow, you don't have sex with your customers or your clients. Simply put, you have sex with them, then the money start flowing automatically. Me, I'm a businessman. I'm all about a dollar, right? I'm all about being able to, focus, progress, move, move myself forward, move my family forward, go from there. At the end of the day, I've ran and sold my wild oats, like what my aunt would say, God rest her soul. But like at the end of the day, it ain't nothing that a woman can offer me that I haven't already had before prior to that. So
Nice.
and I'm very disciplined. So at the end of the day, I'm just here to do a job. I'm in and out, and like that's it. Now I have a good time. I might flirt, and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but I know where to stop and keep it moving.
That's very important to know, knowing to stop and keep it moving. Now, you said something very profound in your questionnaire. You said you were focused on educating, empowering, and providing the necessary tools, resources for your clients for safe sexual intercourse and health, all while experiencing pleasure. And your goal is to close the pleasure gap and make
Right.
sexual pleasure inclusive for everyone. So, how did you when did you reach that point? You went from dancing to managing and selling products. So when did you come to the realization that, this is because the average person thinks, oh, this is bad, it's nasty, it's slutty, whatever. But sexual pleasure is highly important. Like it is the
Absolutely.
demise of a lot of relationships and it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Sex is
Mhm.
everywhere every 5 seconds, and there's a ton of misconceptions floating around about sex, a lot of misinformation. So when you
Right.
put that in there, I was really happy that you put that there because, I mean, not that I doubted you, but it's like,
Right.
it's good to see people in your industry, especially a man, and you having that discipline to say, hey, this ain't just about getting off. Like, this is an experience. This is
Right.
education. This is knowledge. So when about do you think you got to that point where you said this is more than just dancing and things like that?
So when I got out the dancing game, right, my mindset just strictly went to selling adult novelties, right, or
Mm-hmm.
sex toys. Once in it, I was just pretty much selling the product, but I, also educating myself about the product. I would venture to say maybe about 4 to 5 years ago, things started to make a shift from which was just selling the product to actually educating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that became a big thing, sexual health and wellness and educating. So then when I really sat back and when I used to be at the parties, when I was doing toy parties, I used to always hear things that I didn't like, right? One was happy wife, happy life, or
Mm.
girl, you can go buy this off of Amazon, or
Oh,
like stuff like you can do this and spit here, and you can use spit for lube and all that stuff. And I just heard all this crazy stuff, and I was just like, enough, stop it, stop it,
thank you
stop
for
it.
stopping it.
Right. So then I just started educating more. Like every time I had a customer come to me, I would try to educate them as much as possible. Then I realized that they were actually really intrigued and wanted to learn more about what I was sharing with them because they would hit me with information like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought I could use Vaseline or petroleum jelly
Mm-hmm.
as like lube. And I'm like, what? So yeah. And then with the whole pleasure gap,
Yeah.
right? Being around other sex educators and stuff like that and sexologists, you start hearing about something called the pleasure gap. And then you ultimately realize that women, you know what I'm saying, aren't having the same type of pleasure that you and I are having, right? They're
Right.
not orgasming as much as we are. Then I quickly realized, like, yo, they're not the problem. We're the problem as men,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then I'm like, all right, I got this large, like woman fan base, or not fan base, customer base,
Right.
right? So then I started shifting my focus towards the men. And and now guys are starting to get more receptive,
Yeah.
especially black men. They're starting to get more receptive and buy products and ask questions and stuff like that. And my goal to bridging that is that if I can get guys to be comfortable and to have a safe space and be comfortable around sex toys, pleasure, and talking openly about sex without being perverted and making a woman feel uncomfortable, then we could work on closing that gap, right?
Yes.
Because how we grew up is pretty much, shit, I gotta get mine. Fuck her. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about getting a
Right.
nut for
Yeah.
real,
Yeah.
right? Nothing about that statement says, like that I'm gonna make sure that my woman, my wife, my fiance, my jump off, whatever, is gonna get what she needs. It's all about pound real quick and out. That's what we learn in pornos. That's what we hear at the barbershop. That's what we hear when we talk to the D-boys on the corner, right? All
Yeah.
types of stuff. So that was my thought pattern behind all of that. So now the work is reaching the men, because my ladies have always been with me since day one. Now it's trying to get these guys, to open up more, and then we bridge it.
Yo, you brought up a good point. You bring me back to my journey into dealing with women, and I've always been a pleaser. Like if she wasn't satisfied, like I got to do whatever. Like you got to lay back down. Like I got to eat you out again. Like something. Like I always wanted to be a good memory. You know what I'm saying? I always
Right.
want to be remembered for the right reasons. And I used to have an issue with toys. Like I felt like, well, I ain't enough. Like, but I realized after dealing with not a ton of women, but enough women, I realized they're all like jigsaw puzzles. Like some of them are sensitive here, some of them are sensitive there. Some of them like you do this for 20 minutes, some of them like you to do this for 2 seconds. Some of them don't want you to do it at all. So like when you have additional resources and tools to help you, oh God, this sounds terrible. Let me use the right words. We have the novelties needed to help assist. It helps. It helps because pleasing a woman it can be tiresome. Like sometimes it takes a lot, and everyone doesn't have 30, 45 minutes in them to build her up, and then you know what I'm saying. Like it takes a lot for certain women. But I like the fact that you're educating people, especially on things like lube and stuff like that, and like the different. Like I heard a porn star talking about lube, and she was like, "Hey, if you want to do anal, use this type of lube. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Y." And I was like, "Oh, didn't even think about
Right.
that. Didn't know that." And I learned that, and I was able to incorporate that in my personal life. We didn't make it to that stage, but it was interesting because it kind of opened my eyes to like, okay, everything is just not like walking in the grocery store and just picking something off the shelf. It's like, yo, these are very specific products with very specific purposes. And
Right.
it doesn't mean that you're lacking or deficient. These are just things to help, like you say, close that gap. And there are things for us as well. So
Right.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate you for, making, bringing the educational side out.
Right. But here's the thing, right? To piggyback off what you said a little earlier when you said, women are like jigsaw puzzles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. Here's how you can avoid even getting into the jigsaw puzzle is that when you're dating, right? Or you just communicate, chatting back and forth, getting to know one another. Well, when we go on dates and we just getting to know one another, right? What's one of the first things we do? Hey, what's your name? What type of work you do? Where you went to school? Like all those
Yep.
type of questions, right? Because you're trying to get to know the person
Yep.
to figure out if that person is the right one for you or if you want to continue down that path.
Mm.
Now, I'm not telling you to do this on the first date. Let's just say the fourth or fifth date, right? You guys may talk openly about sex, you know what I'm saying? And which I advocate that people should. And the
I
reason
agree.
being is that you need to figure out if you're sexually compatible. What's the point in going 6 months or a year or getting married and realize that you're not sexually compatible? Now you're out there cheating or you're getting divorced. So my thing is when you're talking, right? Again, don't come off as a pervert or saying all of the wrong dumb shit like us men normally do. But basically just be like, hey, what type of sex do you like? Are you heterosexual? Are you bisexual, right? Are you pansexual? Are you into swinging? Are you into BDSM? And basically just ask the question and then literally let her, you know what I'm saying, answer the question. And then based upon what she say, you ask another question. And you ask another question. But don't be like, oh, so you like women, huh? So if I call my homegirl right now about 4 o'clock at night, don't do that. Like don't do that. I tell guys all the time, like most of us guys, we talk ourselves out of sex. Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Seriously, by saying all the wrong dumb shit. It's like, don't do it. But you should have those conversations, right? And then I also share with women, like if you come across a guy that's sexually liberated, right? Or he's open-minded, and
Mm-hmm.
he say he owns sex toys, and not to say he owns sex toys to use on a multitude of women, he actually use them on himself, right? Don't look at him like he weird or he gay, something like that, right? Embrace that. Just like how you want someone to embrace that you own products and you like what you like, right? Embrace that. But I do believe that we need to have that conversation where we can figure out what we like, what we dislike. So if she's able to answer those questions, guess what? You don't have to try to figure out what she like. She could tell you off tops. Oh, I like oral. or I love to ride a man's face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I like this, or I like doggy style, or I don't like to be choked. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
You already know the puzzle pieces. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you practically, or I shouldn't say the puzzle pieces, like you know what the roadmap is.
Yeah.
Now you just got to literally do your thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that's pretty much about it.
I'm with you on that because I'm very open with those conversations. Because again, like if she's not pleased, I can't even really get off until she does. Like I need to see some shaking, some squirting, some something. I need to know that all right, she got hers, so I can get mine. Because I'm kind of easy. Like and for me it's more of a mental thing. But I definitely ask those questions because I had to learn after dealing with a couple women. I'm like, damn, these three, they were totally different. They were totally different. I was like, I
Right.
need to just start having a conversation. And if they're afraid of the conversation or don't want to have the conversation, oh well, on to the next. And it makes sex better. Like this is what people need to understand. Like one of the people I've had sex with recently, like when we finish, we roll over, we laugh, and we talk about it. And then
Right.
she was like, I liked when you did this. I wish you would have did it a little bit longer. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known that. Well, I like when you did this. I wish you would have did that a little bit longer. Or I'm like, hey, don't pinch me like that anymore. Like whatever it may be. And it gets
Right.
better and better every time because y'all are having a
Right.
conversation instead of me just walking around acting like I'm King Dingaling. It's like, no, like where can I improve to make it better? Because I'm like this. This is just me. Sex is, and I got this from shout out to Jessica Van. That is physically the closest you can be with someone. So if we're gonna do this together, it should at least be pleasurable on both ends. At the bare minimum, even if we don't give a fuck about each other, it should at least be good. Like it should at
Right.
least be pleasurable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that conversation piece is definitely important. I'm glad you brought that up.
And then another thing too, right? Most people when they get into, having sex, it's all about the orgasm, right? I need the orgasm, I need to come, I need to squirt, I need to do this, that, and the third,
Yeah.
right? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just chill, right? You clouding your vision. I mean, you clouding your brain, which you adding extra stressors on yourself and you thinking too hard. Yo, just have sex. Sex is, it's going to be what it's be. And guess what? The orgasm is the icing on the cake, right? A lot of women don't realize, or at least some guys will, they'll say stuff like, yo, why she need to use a toy after, after we fuck, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? 70% of women, don't orgasm from vaginal penetration. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
They orgasm from clitoral stimulation.
Yep.
My wife is like that. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
we can have a great session and she's screaming and everything's cool. And then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm done, she just reach over, grab the vibrator, and when she like to say, she see the white light. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Like, and then guys, they just get out of their own head, right?
Yeah.
Which is, like, oh yo, every chick that I hit, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I know I'm guaranteed tearing pussy down. The moves you did at age 18 or 21 will probably not work on a woman that's 30, 40, 50 years
Facts.
old. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
seriously, like you said earlier, every woman is different. Every partner is different.
Yep.
Whatever you like. You see what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day. So you have to adjust accordingly. But one thing I do like about, you know, like my vulva owners, right, is that if they are not good at something or they're trying to get better at something, they go take a class, right? So if they want to learn how to suck dick bag, they go take a class. They want to know how to get the Megan Thee Stallion knees and ride all night, they go take a class, right? They want to look seductive with their lingerie or body stocking on, they might go take a twerk class, whatever the case may be. Us guys don't do that.
No.
That's the dynamic that I'm trying to change, right? Like, yo, your head game is whack. Let's come take this class. You think you got a mean stroke game? I'm just going to keep it 100 with you, B. Like, yo, she is just patting your ego. But at the end of the day, at brunch, you're getting laughed at. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my man, yo, come take this class. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yo, you need to work on your hygiene. You wanted to suck your dick, B. But, yo, you got, like, the 1970s, like, fro, down by your nuts. Like, it's not going to fly. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not fly. But, and the guys, like, at the end of the day, like, yo, Are you laughing too hard
He
about
said
this?
the 70s. Hold on. Hygiene is very important, and what you're I'm sorry, I didn't mean to-
No, it
you
is.
threw me off, yo, because I know you I know you dead ass serious, but you threw me off with that
That
one.
is
But
right.
you're right. These are the conversations and things that people need to hear, though, because there's too much shame. There's too much, and then y'all have to think about it. When you're born, no one really ever. God forbid someone did something to you. You're never really taught how to have sex. Like you just meet someone and y'all both want to do it, and y'all just trying to figure shit out. And like,
Yo, that's why sex education is important.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
that's
Because
how I
even
actually. That's how I
yo,
learned how to.
let me say this thing real quick,
Go
right?
ahead.
It's just like that's when my wife and I was having our daughter. I'm in a doctor's office, right, University of Maryland, and you see a 15-year-old having a kid.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Sex education is key. So you don't get caught in that type of situation, right?
yep.
Or get HIV, AIDS, or get a STD, like all of that stuff, right?
Yep.
Like seriously, like let's learn to have good sex, quality sex, pleasurable sex, but also safe sex,
Yeah.
right? Like I joke about this. I told you about this earlier in our conversation. As black people, we're behind on ownership, we're behind on finances, we're behind on education. The one thing we all like to do is have sex, and guess what? We fucking suck at it.
Mm,
We suck at it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We need to work on that. We think we're doing a good job. We not. You know what I mean? And I can talk about this on a guy's perspective. I can talk about this on a woman's perspective, right?
Yep.
But the major key with all of this is that we got to communicate. Stop the shaming, stop the slut shaming, whatever type of shaming you want to throw out there, right? And just embrace people for who they are. And if that's something you want to rock with it. If you don't, you don't. But you don't need to put a person on blast and all that type of stuff.
Right.
That's the part that, that gets to me sometimes.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I'm glad you brought up, the more serious side about the education, because I'll never forget, and this stopped me from even wanting to have sex. In high school, shout out to Mr. Jones. He was like, we had sex education. I know they do it differently these days, but this dude showed us a film of what STDs look like when someone catches them. When I saw genital warts, I'll get away from me. Everybody get the fuck away from me. Like, what?
Right.
Like, when you see that and you see that I can contract this if I mess around with the wrong person or if I don't use a condom, nah. I was like, nah, I need to, I backed up because I'm like, whoa, like, this is terrible. And like, some of this stuff you can't get rid of either.
Right. See, but here's the thing, right? The scare tactic is cool, but that don't all the way work, right? Because we don't have a lot of young people out there nowadays. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, my sister and I were 13 years apart. When my parents used to scare me, like, yo, you punished, or, like, come after me, yo, I'm shook. Yo, I'm going up to my room. That's just what it is. My sister, like, Genghis Khan. She like, yo, oh, you the authority? Yo, we overthrowing this motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, straight up. That's how she get down. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that's how these young people are. Like, yo, they don't rock with authority or nothing like that. So trying to scare them don't work. So what I always recommend and suggest is the scare tactic, not so much, but just educate and give the proper tools across the board, right? So show them that, like when you're having sex, like sex is never going to be 100%. What I mean by that is that you're never going to be 100% protected, right? Only way you're going to be 100% protected is don't have sex, right?
Right.
But there's things that you can do in order to mitigate your risk, right? So that's the things that we need to talk about. We need to talk about self-pleasure. We need to talk about, what I'm saying, the STDs and STIs and all of that stuff. We need to talk about quality lube so that you don't have to worry about micro tears and all of that stuff. We need to talk about vibrators. We need to talk about pregnancy. We need to talk about, relationships and, like with people and various different partners and, and stuff like that. All of that stuff goes hand in hand, but just trying to scare a young person like straight, it might work for a few, it won't work for all. My thought is always to just provide the education and the tools, and then you hope that they make the right decision based upon the education and the tools that they have, right?
Yeah. I agree with you on that. The scare tactic definitely worked on me. Definitely didn't work on one of my classmates because he got a girl pregnant that year. So you're
Yeah, yeah. Scare tactic works for me too.
it didn't work for him. Dang it, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say about that? Oh, yes, y'all. This is another thing I'm gonna recommend to y'all, man. Don't be afraid or embarrassed to ask someone to go get tested before you have sex with them. Like that's
Absolutely.
like I need to see paperwork. And if you get grief or negative feedback about that, that's a big ass red flag. Like that's something you should want to do. Like that shouldn't be an issue. That shouldn't be a problem. And for me, if a woman was like, "Yo, I want you to go get," that means you really want to have sex with me. Like you want me to go through. I don't want to say the trouble, but you want to make an appointment, go get tested for all this stuff. Like you want to make sure that we're safe. That means you really want to do some things. You know what I'm saying? But don't be afraid. And I don't care how old you are. However old you are when you start having sex, 16, 17, 18, yo, go get tested and then we can talk.
Right.
Because you don't know. You can't. And then, different STDs and stuff like that, they lie dormant. They're more active in men than women, or they may be more active in women than men. And you might have something and not even know it, might not even be
Right.
symptomatic. So it's
Right.
very, very, very important to get tested, y'all.
Absolutely, it is.
Man, you answered my other question. I was going to ask you what some of the most common sexual misconceptions are, but I feel like you covered that 1000%,
Well,
man.
well, no, we could talk about some more, right? Common like misconceptions.
All right,
Like
let's do it.
one is like if a guy does anything anal, like he's gay, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to really know what the real definition of gay. The real definition of gay is that you're attracted to the same sex, right? You know what I'm saying? So if you're not attractive, right, then you're not considered to be gay. Now, another thing that will make guys will assume that they're gay if their woman wants to peg them, or the woman might be thinking like, I don't know, he might be a little funny. Like if a guy wants to get pegged, hello, like like our G spot, aka P spot, is located in our anus, right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's our pleasure button or our pleasure spot. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like we have to think differently as it relates to sex, and not everything is gay and and stuff like that. Other misconceptions is that is that if you wet you don't need lube, and like lube is always good, whether you wet, super wet, triple wet, I don't care, you Niagara Falls, whatever. Lube is always key. You see what I'm saying? And lube is not for excuse my language, but how some women will say, oh, that's for the dry bitches, this and the third. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Educate them. Tell them why.
yo, main reason why is that like with lube, man, lube makes everything better, right? You know what I'm saying? So when you're penetrating, you have a partner, he's penetrating and stuff like that. Again, like I spoke before, you don't have to worry about micro tears, right? You know what I'm saying? It makes more things more comfortable, easy. You can move in different positions, all of those different types of things, right? And you have various different types of lubes out there. Same thing with guys, where they think, like, the best lube is spit. Mm-mm. You know how
Mm-hmm.
many germs is in spit,
Yeah.
dog? Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what you've been doing with your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you smoking cigarettes, you drinking Hennessy, you drinking Remy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you eating Wingstop. You ain't not brushing
Not the wing stop
flossing.
saliva.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm dead serious,
Yeah.
right? So
You
like,
right.
like at the end of the day, even if you jerking off, a good quality lube, like you don't want to use water-based lube. Why? Water-based lube would tend to dry up. You're gonna have to constantly reapply. If you're a man and you jerking off, a good silicone lube is key, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about friction. Again, guys get micro tears too. Like, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Also, another misconception is that sex toys is only for women, and that's incorrect. They got sex toys for any and everybody, right? Whether you transgender, whether you heterosexual, whether you bisexual, it doesn't matter. Like, they got sex toys for all, right? Even if you have disabilities, sex toys for all. Your plus size, or I should say bigger body, there's sex toys for all. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So at the end of the day, like, that's another common misconception. Another one is that guys think that sex toys is out to replace them. No, sex toys is an enhancement, dog. Like, seriously, it's an enhancement. You know, that's like, I don't know, like, like eating French fries and and you eating them plain, but then you want to throw Obey on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you're from Baltimore, right? Or like ketchup, salt, pepper, ketchup. It's an enhancement. I mean, like, so that's, those are just some of the, common like misconceptions. Or a woman that owns sex toys, she a freak, she a hoe, she a slut. No, that just means that she loves to explore. She might be sexually liberated. You know what I'm saying? She understands her body. She's well versed. It's nothing wrong with that. She's not a hoe. She's not a slut. She's not a freak. You know what I'm saying? Even if she have multiple partners, right? To me personally, that's cool. Guys can do it. Why the fucking women can't do it?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That
So
that always
that's
cracks me up.
yeah, that's some of the common misconceptions that are out there. I can go on for days, but that's just some. But yeah, but like in our culture, right? Like our thought process as it relates to sex is just ridiculous. And then people want to throw the Bible in. Well, you should only have one partner and you only get married and then there's monogamy, right? Well, guess what? You look at some of the biblical characters, they had multiple wives.
Mm.
So we pick and choose the things that we want out of the Bible to satisfy a certain situation or put people in a certain box, right? So if a person is in a polyamorous relationship, that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? No, let that works for them. It might not work for you, but that works for them, right?
Yep.
And like at the end of the day, people that are holier than thou, but yet after church, they curse up a storm, or they drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes and all that stuff. And I'm pretty clear, I'm pretty confident, like in the Bible, there's a lot of things that you shouldn't do, right? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So yeah, so it's just like we follow some, but we don't follow others, and we're quick to judge other individuals. So just let people live, do them, and then you go from there.
Yo, man, toy guy, I ain't got no more questions, man. Is there anything else you need? Well, first of all, thank you again for joining us, man. This has been phenomenal. This is better than I even expected. I already knew it was gonna be dope because of our conversation on Clubhouse and
Nah,
our conversation ahead of time. But is there anything else you want to share with the good people out there?
absolutely, man. So on June 30th, well, we're doing something called Sex Talk and Cigars. This is for all men, all black men, right, that have sex with women. It's going to be a Zoom call, and if you want the information in the link, right, you can hit my Facebook page, which is Toy Guy, and it's also posted on my IG. And it's posted on my IG is pt_treasures with the S, and then it's also on my on Clubhouse as well. Right, my name on Clubhouse is just Toy Guy, or at pt treasures. Now with this safe space that we're having on Zoom, is basically black men. Is I think it's like 4 or 5 of us on the panel. My homegirl, my big homie, Goody Howard, she's going to be moderating, right? This, like a panel discussion, and basically we're going to be talking about black men in relationships, black men as it relates to sex, black men in pleasure, all of those various different things. And what I like to say is it's the thought of reimagining the black man. We need to reimagine the black man on various different angles. But on this particular angle, we're going to just be talking about sex, right? And, and stuff like that, which is really trying to get guys to just open up more as it relates to sex. Because, hey, guys, if we get it right, then we can be really good, pleasurable pleasure partners. Pleasure partners to whoever our partners are, whether it's men, women, whatever the case may be. So in this particular case, it's for guys that love on, like black, or love on women, right? So we just want to try to, curve some of the misconceptions that are out there, and really just, like educate our brothers, man, and just hopefully try to get them to be more open-minded, and go from there.
Well, thank you for sharing that information. If I'm available, I definitely want to be a part of that. I'm always
Not a problem.
down.
I'll send you the info.
Absolutely, man. I'm always down to learn more and do anything that can help me enhance myself and make me a better, more real, well-rounded person, especially when it comes to sexual pleasure. Um, but
Hercules.
but with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed out. I want to thank y'all again for listening and for supporting. Carl, Toy Guy, Thank you again for joining us. All of his information will be in the description, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you hop in on that Zoom. Fellas, make sure you hop in on that Zoom. Make sure you follow Toy Guy, man. Support this brother. Reach out to him. You know, I reached out to him. He was like, cool, boom, boom, bap. You know, we hooked this up maybe like a week and a half ago, and bong, here we are today to get y'all this good knowledge. But from my experience, podcast family, we love y'all. And until next time, take care of yourselves physically, mentally, financially, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.